Hello everyone. My name is Dr. Deivanayagame, Associate Professor, Department of Physiology from SLIMS, that is the Sri Lakshmi Narayana Institute of Medical Sciences. And today I am going to talk about the small intestinal motility. So, about the introduction, the movement of food to the gastrointestinal tract requires a coordinated contraction and relaxation of different muscle layers of JT. And the junction between the different parts of JT as muscular sphincters, mainly made up of circular muscle fibers, they control the movement of food between the adjacent segments. So these help in the propulsion of food from one segment to the other segment. So with that introduction, so we are going to see about the different small intestinal movements. So the motility of small intestine is broadly divided into during the digestive fasting period as well as during the digestive, that is the fasting as well as during the digestive period. So during interdigestive period, that is the fasting period, the movement which is produced is migratory motor complexes. It is called as MMC. The next one is during digestive period, the movements are mixing movements, propulsive movements, and movements of the villi. The mixing movements are further divided into segmentation, contraction, and pendular movements. Whereas the propulsive movements are peristaltic contraction and the peristaltic rush, and movements of the villi. And next one is the motility reflexes. They are divided into three. One is the peristaltic reflex, next one is gastrointestinal reflex, and next one is the intestinal reflex. So what are the functions of these small intestinal movements are? They are helpful in the mixing as well as the propulsion of food. I told before itself. The characteristic feature of this movement is the rhythmicity, as well as they are appearing as alternate contraction as well as relaxation. So what is that? How it is produced? It is produced by the pacemaker cells which are present on the circular muscle layer and near the orbital plexus, and they set up the basal electrical rhythm, that is a BER. And this appears at a frequency of about 12 per minute in the duodenum, whereas at 8 per minute in the distal ileum. So which is helpful in the this pacemaker cell, this is a BER, which is helpful in the production of the movements. So we will talk about this during interdigestive period. There is a fasting. In that period, so movements are produced. It is a migratory motor complex. So about that, it is a peristaltic waves. They are the peristaltic waves which begins at the esophagus, which helpful in the removing of remaining food during the fasting period. It is the interdigestive period. It is called as, it is otherwise called interdigestive housekeepers. And what is the rate which this migratory motor complex is produced? It is produced at a rate of 5 minutes per 5 minutes. Okay, so every 60 to 90 minutes. Okay, 5 per every 5 per minute. So every 60 to 90 per minute. And it is having close correlations between basal electrical rhythm as well as migratory motor complexes. They are associated with the increase in the gastric secretion, bile flow, as well as pancreatic secretion. And this migratory motor complex is abolished immediately with the entry of food. So this appears only on the fasting period. So whenever the food enters, this migratory motor complex will be abolished. Okay. And during the digestive period, the movements produced, I told us, mixing movements, propulsive movements, as well as the movement of the belly. So about the mixing movement, the two types are there. One is the segmentation contraction, and next one is the pendular movements. And next about the propulsive movements, I told it is the peristalsis. So in mixing movements, they are responsible for the mixing of chyme with the digestive juice. So this what is the use of these mixing movements? They are helpful for the mixing of the chyme with the digestive juices. So what are the juices? That is the intestinal juice, bile juice, as well as the pancreatic juice. So these juices will mix with the food. So mix with the chyme. And it includes segmentation contraction as per the pendular. So about the segmentation contractions, the features are, they are regular. They are the most common one. They are regular in rhythm. They are regular in rhythm as well as they contact the regular in rhythmicity. What happened in segmentation contraction is the small segments will contract, whereas the adjoining segment will relax. So what happened? There will be a small segment is contracting and the other adjoining segment is relaxing. So what happened? There will be alternate contracted and relaxed segment. So it appears like a ring. So ring-like appearance will be there. So because of the production of segmentation contraction. So you can see in the diagram also there will be alternate contraction and relaxation of the segments. Okay. So producing a ring-like appearance. You can see. So alternate contraction segment are contracted as well as relaxed segments and appears as a ring-like segment. So this is the segmentation contraction. So what are the functions of this? So what happened? They slow down the transit and increase the contact with the time with the absorption. So what happened? They will be because of the segmentation contraction, the transit time will be slowed down. So thereby it increases the contact. So the absorption will be contact time for the more time it will be remaining in the intestine. So what happened? There will be increase in the chance of absorption. They propel the chyme slowly towards the colon. So what happened? This segmentation contraction only helpful in the slow movement of the chyme towards the intestine. Okay, and they increase the absorption time. Okay, next. So this is a segmentation contraction. You can see alternate contracted as well as relaxed segments. You can see the. Okay. Next one. Rate and duration. So what is the rate? How much the rate and duration for the segmentation contraction is appearing? It appears at 12 times per minute in the duodenum, whereas it appears at 8 times per minute in the ileum. And what are types of the segmentation contraction? This segmentation contraction is further divided into two types. One is the eccentric type, another one is the concentric type. So in eccentric type, what happened? Lesser than 2 centimeters in length is involved. Whereas in concentric, there will be a longer than 2 centimeters in length of the segment will be involved. And the control of this segmentation contraction is initiation occurs only slow wave produce spikes or action potential. Whenever there is a action potential over the spike potential, there will be production of the segmentation contraction. And frequency, it is directly related to the frequency of slow waves and controlled by the pacemaker cells. And strength, it is proportional frequency spikes generated by the slow waves. So it is proportional to the frequency spikes generated by the slow waves. And next one is the pendular movements. It helps in mixing and shaking the intestinal content. So this is also a mixing movement. It is also shaking the intestinal content. And then what happened? A small constrictive waves sweeps forward as well as backward and or upward and downward. So what happened? A small constrictive wave will move forward as well as backward as well as upward and downward. So this is helpful in the shaking as well as mixing of the intestinal content. So you can see moving up forward and backwards as well as upward and downward, which is helpful in the mixing of the food. Okay, as mixing as well as the shaking. And next one is the propulsive movements. They involved in pushing the chyme towards the aboral ends. So normally propulsive movements, what happened? They push the contents from the oral towards the aboral end. So this includes peristaltic contraction as well as peristaltic rush. Two types are there. One is the peristaltic contraction and next one is the peristaltic rush. From mouth to the aboral. You can see the diagram. From mouth to the oral anus, it is called as aboral movement of the. So about the peristalsis, a propulsive movement. What is that? A propulsive movement carries the contents of tube forward to the lumen. So what happens? How it is initiated? It is initiated by a circular contraction behind the stiffness and an area of relaxation in front which travels downward as a wave. And this peristalsis also occurs in the stomach as well as in the large intestine. And rate, it appears at 2 centimeters per minute, very infrequent during fasting. So it is not frequent during the fasting period. It is only frequent during the digestive period. Okay. You can see the peristaltic movements moving from oral towards the aboral end. So you can see this peristalsis movement. Okay. And next one is about the peristaltic contraction features a wave of contraction preceded by a wave of relaxation. So it is highly coordinated. It involves contraction of one segment behind the bolus and relaxation in front. It consists of a deep circular ring at around 0.5 to 2 centimeters per second, and the chyme moves at 1 centimeter per minute, so 3 to 4 hours from pylorus towards the ileocecal valve. So before that, you have to know what is the law of intestine. The law of intestine is proposed by Starling in 1901. This law of intestine is otherwise called as polarity of intestine or polar conduction of intestine, or otherwise called as electrical activity intestine or law of health. And the other name also is there. It is the theory of resorptive relaxation. So what happened? What is the theory states? The peristaltic contractions travel from point of stimulus in both directions. So in peristaltic, what is the happen? What is telling? So peristaltic contraction travel from point of stimulus in both directions, but contraction in oral direction will disappear, whereas peristalsis in aboral direction will persist. So according to that, law of that says that peristalsis occurs in the aboral direction from the duodenum towards the ileocecal valve. Okay. So this occurs due to stimulation of two sets of neurons, one causing contraction and other causing relaxation. So it is a reflex action called as myenteric reflex. There will be no reverse movement. This is because of the excitability, tone and force of the contraction is maximum at the duodenum. So from the duodenum, it is going towards the ileocecal valve. So it is always the tone and force of the contraction is maximum at the duodenum compared to ileocecal valve. So always move from the duodenum towards the ileocecal valve in the small intestine. What is the use of the peristalsis? It moves the chyme forward so that it is exposed to different digestive juices. As well as forward movement of chyme also help the absorption, which can occur along the whole length of the intestine. So it prevents prevents bacterial growth in small intestine by continuously pushing the contents down to the colon. It prevents distension by expulsion of gases produced in the intestine or swallow. It augments blood and lymph flow that helps in the absorption from the intestine. So these are all the uses of peristalsis. So one is the movement of chyme forward, and next one is it is helpful in the absorption. It helps prevent the bacterial growth. Next one, it prevents digestive distension by expulsion of gases. It augments the blood as well as lymph flow. So peristaltic contraction, I told that function. It is a propel food and digestion and absorption. In control, I told that initiation is a stimulus distension and rate is 2.5. And what is the mechanism behind that is local stage. Whenever the food is entering into the intestine, there will be local stage. This causes release of serotonin. This activates the sensory neuron and stimulate the myenteric plexus. So what happened? It activates the sensory neuron and stimulate the myenteric plexus. This in turn activity is travel in either direction to release acetylcholine and substance P in circular constriction, whereas nitric oxide and VIP produces resorptive relaxation. So what happened? Whenever there is a food bolus is entering, what happened? There will be release of acetylcholine as well as substance P in the this area causes contraction, whereas nitric oxide and VIP causes relaxation. So whenever there is a stretch of the food, this in turn causes release of acetylcholine in the oral direction. Oral direction, it is nitric oxide as well as VIP as well as ATP. So this causes relaxation on this segment. Nitric oxide as well as VIP causes relaxation on the other segment, whereas in the contraction on the contraction in the oral direction is because of the acetylcholine as well as the substance P. Okay. So what happens? Step 1, I told that contraction of circular muscles behind the food mass, whereas contraction and longitudinal muscles ahead of food mass. So contraction of circular muscle layer of the forces food mass forward. So regulation of intestinal movements. Local, it is the myenteric plexus as well as the mesenous plexus. Whereas neural, it is the vagus as well as sympathetic nerves. Whereas hormonal, that is excitatory, is acetylcholine, substance P, serotonin, motility, CCK, and gastrin as well as cystine. Whereas inhibitory is adrenaline, VIP, nitric oxide, secretin as well as atropine. And next one is about the peristaltic rush. It is a very powerful peristaltic contractions when intestinal mucosa is getting irritated. It is partly initiated by extrinsic nervous system and partly by the myenteric reflex. It begins in the duodenum for entire length up to ileocecal valve. It relieves the small intestinal irritants of extensive distension. Example, it is occurring during diarrhea. And next one about the movements of the villi. It features of the movements of villi are, it consists of alternate shortening and elongation of the villi by contraction and relaxation of the muscle. And it is initiated by the local nervous reflexes The next one is a hormone, that is a villikinin from the small intestinal mucosa. So the villikinin is a hormone which is responsible for the movement of the villi as well as the local nervous reflexes. So what are the movements of villi? The important movements of villi are important for the absorption in the small intestine. The two types are there. One is the lashing movements, and next one is the pumping movements. So what is lashing movements? The villi move like a whip, cutting to the kind. So whip-like motion is here it is a whip-like motion, you can see. So it moves like a whip, so cutting the kind. Next one to the kind. Whereas pumping movements, they alternate shortening as well as elongation of the villi. So alternate shortening as well as relaxation of the elongation of the villi. Villi do not move in an empty intestine. So they are telling that villi won't move during the empty intestine. So it is not happening during the fasting period. So lashing movements as well as the pumping movement, you can see. What are the functions of this movement of the villi are? It is helpful in emptying the lymph from the central lacteal into the lymphatic system. And it also increases the surface area of the absorption. And next about the motility reflexes. What are the motility reflexes? They are divided into two. One is the gastrointestinal reflex and next one is the intestinal reflex. So what is gastrointestinal reflex? It is whenever the food enters into the stomach, that it causes distension of the food. This in turn causes reflex stimulation of the vagus, and this causes relaxation of the ileocecal sphincter. And next one is the intestinal reflex. There will be over distension of the one segment causes relaxation of smooth muscle of rest of the intestine. So it is the intestinal reflex. Applied aspects, two are the paralytic ileus as well as the intestinal obstruction. So what is paralytic ileus and what are the causes for that? It is always called as paralytic ileus. Is otherwise called as adynamic ileus. So always called adynamic ileus. It is causes for that is after surgery. So when after any abdominal surgery, it causes paralytic ileus. Next one is the peritonitis, injury to the gut as well as infection. They may lead to decreased or absence of intestinal movements leading to the paralytic ileus. So adynamic ileus, pathophysiology, intestinal motility is markedly decreased due to retention of the contents and irregular distension of small intestine with pockets of gas as well as fluids. And causes are direct inhibition of the smooth muscle of small intestine due to handling of intestine, that is intra-abdominal absorption, intra-abdominal operation, as well as reflex inhibition due to increased discharge of noradrenergic fibers in the splanchnic. And next one is the intestinal obstruction. The causes for that is due to tumors as well as stricture and fibrotic bands in the abdomen. And features of that are intestinal colic, severe pain due to peristaltic rush, as well as distension of small intestine due to increased intra-abdominal pressure. And causes for that are, it causes a local ischemia, sweating and hypotension, and severe vomiting due to stimulation of visceral afferent nerves. When obstruction in the upper part of the small intestine, there will be antiparalytic reflex causes intestinal juices to flow into the stomach. And when obstruction in the upper part of the small intestine, there will be vomiting, become more basic than acidic. So here block, that is a block over the intestine. Okay. So I told about the vomiting as well as the abdominal distension or the features of the blockage. So thank you for giving the opportunity. Thank you for